Continuing as we go into our second storyline of the Eastern Conference to finish up the season, the New York Knicks are actually good, and that has been one of the surprising things of the New York Knicks this year. Have been steadily improving over the course of the season. As I talked in other videos, I said if Julius Randle was able to get back to an All NBA level, and he has, especially with scoring 25 points per game, getting 10 rebounds and 4 assists a game. You think that's prime Julius Randle there, All NBA third team that we saw a couple years ago, and he's really put himself in a position to be in the conversation as an All NBA player, in my opinion, and has really been playing really well. Of course, the addition of Jalen Brunson has been a godsend for this team in terms of just getting them some stability there in the backcourt, a guy that can actually play both sides of the ball. Has a good feel for the game, finding guys, getting them involved. And really getting the touch and really able to get his own basket. This team is really good at getting their own basket in terms of Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson being able to create and finish their own shot, something that's very vital in the playoffs. And of course, that's going on forward. We see that with Luka. We saw that with Jalen Brunson in Dallas last year with Luka in Dallas. And just continuing that with Julius Randle. And actually, Julius Randle actually has a point guard that he can play with, somebody that he can feed off of, somebody that he can have a chemistry with late in games. It's not just give the ball to Julius Randle and then just let him figure it out. There's actually some type of version of an offense here going on with the New York Knicks, which is not usually the case. And it's funny because now they're one of the best offensive teams, fourth in offensive rating so far to start the year. Usually you thought they would be rough and rugged on their on the defensive end, but similar to other teams in the league like Cleveland and Dallas, they play a slow pace, and that really helps them get efficient shots, and they don't turn over the ball, especially with Jalen Brunson. That's kudos to Jalen Brunson and Thibodeau really fostering this offense to create that opportunities where they can be efficient and dominate on the glass, which they have with Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson has really been stepping up over the last couple of weeks. And that's really been a godsend. Also, the addition of Josh Hart at the trade deadline there, and that's arguably probably the most Thibs player you can think of in terms of a guy that just comes in, plays hard on the defensive end, actually rebounds, plays tough in that regard, and actually can knock down the shot, something that the Knicks desperately need, where they couldn't get it with Evan Fournier to start the season and stuff like that. And you saw him fall out of the rotation to just bring in Josh Hart. It kind of cemented that. Also, sending out Cam Reddish in that. Josh Hart is replacing them with defense and the offensive end and giving them rebounds, something that was desperately needed for this team. He gives them a different look. He fits the Garden. He fits the New York Knicks. He fits Thibs' style. And Thibs has really gotten this team to get going, especially on the offensive end. Now, are they just hitting the right time? Their stride at the right time. It looks like that's the case here with the New York Knicks. They're 9-1 in their last 10. And when's the last time you've seen the Knicks get a 10-game win streak like that? That's something that we've never really seen. In the last one, they beat a buzzer beater by Julius Randle against the Heat. They beat the Brooklyn Nets. They beat the Boston Celtics, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Washington Wizards, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Brooklyn Nets again in that stretch. And the Utah Jazz. So you're just looking at that schedule there to see that they're beating competent teams, they're beating playoff teams, teams that are battling for playoff position. To see the New York Knicks do that, it's crazy, right? Like, we haven't seen that in a long time. This is probably the best this team has been and looked since probably that, of course, that NBA bubble season, and then probably since Linsanity. When you really think about looking at the buzz of the Garden and how good they feel right now. Kudos to the Knicks. They really battled through it. Of course, all the speculation with Donovan Mitchell heading into the NBA season. They actually built a core, actually built chemistry, actually made a smart deadline move that can really help their team going forward with Josh Hart. And you're just seeing the consistency of this team. Julius Randle, of course, I talked about earlier with 25 points per game. Jalen Brunson has been a hot scorer. I believe he's up there since the turn of the year. I think he's averaging like 29 a game or something like that, really putting the ball in the basket for the New York Knicks. Probably the best scoring New York Knicks point guard in a long time. Like, I can't even think maybe Walt Frazier or was Michael Ray Richardson with them, or like that. That's crazy to think about that. They've always needed a scoring point guard or somebody that can put the ball in the basket in the backcourt. And to have Jalen Brunson come in like he has, of course, with the speculation over the offseason with free agency and all that, was he a big signing? People were questioning the contract. And I thought it was a good, solid move for them. But also looking at R.J. Barrett, who's averaging 19.5 points per game. If he can just continue to knock down shots and be able to find his space, find his points between Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle like he's been all season, the New York Knicks are in good position, and especially when we had question marks about them coming into the season, where they would finish, all the speculation about Jalen Brunson, is Thibs a good coach, whatever the case may be. I think Thibs has earned his way into an extension with this team's performance this year. And kudos to the Knicks with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle really leading the charge for them. Um, can't say enough about that, and they're playing really well. And we'll see what happens when they get into the playoffs. They have been moving up there. Let me check where they are right now in the standings. I believe. Hold on one second, people. I believe they're in the 5th seed right now, only a game back behind Cleveland. It's going to be interesting to see if they can catch Cleveland because I feel like Cleveland has been slipping. I'll talk about that in another segment, but it's just like they're right there in position to get to a 4th seed and have home court in the first round of the playoffs against Cleveland or Brooklyn, whatever, however that fills out. Could they get bullish and get to the 3rd seed and try to bump Philly down? I don't know, but just to see this consistency from the Knicks is something that we haven't seen in a long time. So to get this consistency, the Garden is buzzing again. The NBA is good when the Knicks are good. Whenever it was a big media market, New York Knicks are a really good, historical franchise that the league has marketed and been behind. So it's good. The league is good when teams are good. Like even as much as I shit on the Lakers, the Knicks, whatever the case may be, the league is good when they're good and in the conversation. And the New York Knicks are in the conversation. And you can't say enough about that. And they kind of mirror the Sacramento Kings to me in the Western Conference, where they really just built their team and really added good pieces and stayed the course. And both these teams are playing really, really, really well right now. And kudos to the Knicks.